So this was a movie about a 45-year-old single white man who desperately wants a family, and I can't relate to this at all.
Oh, whoa, that was so sad.
The thought did cross my mind once or twice. I was like, I wonder if Josh is like, maybe like connected to this in any way. I guess we'll find out.
When I told you I wanted to have a baby, you were like, ew, really? One time? So I figured you didn't want any kids. So learning something new about you today, I guess.
Wow.
He's like, that? Ew, I want to have kids. Ew. Ew. I mean, even if you want them, they are kind of gross.
Yeah, I guess.
They yell about directors, yell about the plot, yell about the acting, but they also talk a lot. But mostly Josh and Cassie yell about the movies.
Wait, what's this movie called? Is it Together?
Together.
All right, we're back live with Josh and Cassie yell about movies. Yes, I'm Josh, a freelance entertainment journalist, and Cassie has a news title, which I can't quite understand. Cassie, could you explain what your news title is?
Like what I do for my job? I'm a promotions producer.
Well, you said you're a TV newser, so I just hadn't heard the term before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, TV newser. That's what, like, when you work anything in TV news, we call ourselves TV newsers. I don't know. It's just like a term of endearment we use for ourselves, I guess. To numb the pain.
Fascinating. In Terms of Endearment is a great movie. And we also have a fantastic guest today coming live to the show all the way from somewhere in California.
Long Beach, California.
Long Beach,
I'll give you my address.
California. Kelly Dwyer promoting her brand new show, Dog Obtainment. She does the theme song and the exit music of the show, and we're so excited to have her on. Everybody, welcome!
Yay!
I'm so excited to be here, you guys. Like, honestly, it's been a joy listening to the show. And my husband is more of a cinephile than I am. I should have taken my braces out. I'm probably going to lisp the whole time, but maybe I'll sneak it while you guys are yelling, as you are wont to do. But then I was like, maybe perhaps I should have picked something a little more cerebral. But I think this has a lot to dig into. So I think
it does.
I think we can do it.
Agree. Yeah.
I think they wanted to dig. I think they were trying to dig in and maybe didn't find the right shovel. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who knows? We're a weekly movie review podcast talking about new release films to find out what you guys are talking about so we can connect with you perhaps. And that film today is Together. A semi-romance of some sort comedy about surrogate motherhood.
Though.
What's that?
Not a romance, though. Like, I think it's like a new trend. Like, the trend is, hetero friendship films now.
There you go.
Something,
it's a new thing. It's a new thing by a director who's only directed one previous film 6 years ago, known for one writing credit on Law & Order, and Ed Helms, known for The Office, and an actress I have not seen before. Let's get into it. What do you guys think about Together?
I mean, overall, my feelings are positive. Overall, I did read that it was filmed in like 17 days.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. And as far as the writing goes, a lot of it felt like improvised to me. I mean, it was very chattery. It was very like, it
talking
didn't
heads,
feel like,
definitely talking heads. Yeah. They were like, let's do a scene like this,
Right. It was like one kind of awkward conversation after another is kind of the feeling I had at first. I was like, is this going to get any less awkward? Because it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it grew on me though. It grew on me. Like in the beginning, it was like I'm sorry, Ed Helms was really. I mean, it was a little about What About Bob for me in the beginning, where it was just like I was so grated by him and so like a little skeeved.
Yes, right.
By him that I was like, is this gonna be okay? Like I was almost like Craig, like, oh, what have I done? I picked this movie. I'm gonna have to talk about this now. But then it really did. Over the course of the movie, they won me over for the most part, But
yeah, it did. It felt like it was trying really hard to be awkward, which is not something you experience very often in a film. Yeah, and it also felt like they weren't reciting lines, like they were just kind of going for it. There's a lot of right? Yeah, exactly.
And scene.
I also loved it. I was taken a little back when, with 11 minutes left in the film, she said, "I love you," and I was like, "Really? After all that? Okay."
Well, she meant as a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do believe that this feels like a trend to me. This isn't the first movie, and right off the top of my head, I can't think of the other one that I was going to say, but it does feel like we're dipping our toe into some kind of new territory where the film is about friendship, rather a female male. You know, like men and women can be friends. It's not all they're not all going to end up marrying each other. I did very much, and I don't want to get to the end yet, but I did very much appreciate the end of the movie. I thought it was a great scene to end on and a great moment to kind of leave you in a, leave you sort of going, oh, well, wow, that gives me a lot to think about. I always think movies go like about 5 minutes too long, you know, like they're like, man, if they would have just shaved off that last 5 minutes, it would have been, they really would have said something, because you would have been left to think of some, whatever went on, from there on your own. So I don't know. I'm rambling, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Also, at the beginning, I was very confused. I don't know if you guys were, because I didn't read anything about the film. I don't like to be, for these movie reviews, I don't want to know anything. You guys want to see it? I want to see it. It looked like a therapy session in a furniture store, so I was very confused.
I thought that it was either like a first date, like a speed date thing, or like she was being interviewed by someone who was like a matchmaker type of a thing. That's what I thought when the film first started.
It's a little bit of a job interview for a dating. I don't, it was very like, and that kind of made me anxious, to be honest. And then I was like, oh, well, am I even gonna, is this going to be like this the whole time? I don't know why I get so anxious in the beginning of movies, but I get really invested and right away. And then I'm like, ooh, am I invested in something I'm not going to even understand where they're coming from? And again, back to your thought, Cassie, is that it did seem very much like maybe they were sort of improvising and then they kept what they liked from that scene or whatever. So.
And I mean, it would make sense because Ed Helms has a background in that, right? I mean, he did a lot of improv. I know The Office, like so much of that was improv as well. We know now, so
right,
yeah.
and it can work. And I did feel that there was a definite direction to this movie. I don't know a lot, like Josh was saying. I don't know a lot. What was the other movie that she directed 6 years?
It was a movie no one I know or has ever seen, but let's just say she's been in and around Hollywood for a long time, and this is probably her passion project. Got a big name actor attached to it, so it's a big deal for her, I'm sure.
Oh, there were lots of great comedy actors in this movie. Yeah. And it felt very much like they were trying to hold everyone back from being really funny. You know what I'm saying? It's like the direction might have been something like, we want you to be awkward and intense, but not funny. Like no big LOLs here. I don't know what it was. It did feel a little stifled and a little like these great Tig, who I love, Joe Firestone. Yeah. And she's just so good. I mean, her face alone just, and the nurse, technician.
She's my favorite character.
He was amazing. She is like my new favorite thing for sure. Mm-hmm. And we got our big comedy relief from her, I think, really. So, it was almost two straight men, so, to use the old term, a straight person, but then that sounds even weirder. But then maybe that's where the awkwardness was coming from. The comedy relief wasn't exactly ever there. It was like holding off an orgasm or something. I don't even know. Yeah. Which sort of fitting for the
etching for 90 minutes.
Well, I think maybe they'd seen too many Ben Stiller movies and they didn't want it to go into that cringe territory, perhaps,
right.
Maybe that's an idea, but yeah, I like the awkward humor throughout, Ed Helms light, so to speak, like when she pats him, there's a pat on the back. Great job in there, he says, and gives her this giant bear. Like she did like like you're a toddler, pooping for the first time. Great job, buddy.
And she's like, "Is this for the baby? Maybe you should just hang on to this for a while." I thought the scene was very sweet when they were choosing a paint color together. That was probably one of my favorite scenes.
I think that's when it started to win me over.
Yeah.
As I was like, okay, they're starting to chill out together instead of like
annoying each other. Like when he started talking about, you can have the baby if you want to, but not if you don't. If you're pro-choice, that's okay. Whatever. He was doing his full The Office character thing right there.
Right.
And that's a good, I think, lead into like some of the bigger things they were trying to talk about in this film that I feel like, again, it was a little bit of the edging idea, Cassie, that you threw out there. But you know what I'm saying? It was, I think they were going towards, it was being a surrogate for a single male is kind of new territory, very new territory. I thought it was an interesting topic for sure. Felt like they didn't really totally go for it in a way that I was wholly satisfied at the end. And it feels like they had these like quick conversations about deep topics like pro-choice and, pro-life and that sort of thing. And, I never really quite felt they got there fully with anything. And it could have been an improv aspect that they were sort of kind of jumping around a lot and just that's the way they wanted to play it,
Yeah. They dipped their toe in the water, but they never really dove all the way in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Well, I had a thought that maybe it's because they made it too much of an ensemble piece. Like they didn't need her gay friend at the coffee shop, for instance, did they? I mean, he was an interesting character, but maybe that took away from character development between the two of them, perhaps.
I love that guy, though. I forget his name, but
I thought he was funny too.
I think he made them more fun. I always thought when they were together with a third person, they were much funnier and much more relatable.
Sure.
Like when they were just together, I was like,
very
like
static almost, right?
Sexless, sexless marriage after 15 years. Like some of it was, like we're going to eat spaghetti together now and we're going to sleep together, but not have sex. It was just really like, but when there was a third, even her sister's friend, when they met up with her in the shop, the maternity shop,
right.
That was fun, more, not fun, but more insightful.
Well, because the third person is us, right? It's like us, the way we feel when we're watching them going, what is that? What is happening here, right? It's like you're seeing that on screen. Yeah.
They were underdeveloped, but I don't know how much we needed, they never developed either story, his or hers. I felt like they could have picked a lane more and really said, okay, well, let's go for it through her story. And yes, we'll know obviously a lot about him, but it was like she had this, family that she didn't speak to in this prior pregnancy when she was very young, but it never really went anywhere. And then we kind of met his family.
Yeah. I was thinking his character was so lucky to have a family that was so supportive. They kind of questioned it at first, but after that, they were all there for like his baby shower. And I thought, wow, I feel like if this happened in the real world, people might be a lot more judgmental. Possibly. I mean, it all depends on the situation, but yeah.
And I thought she was pretty restrained for a guy who was kind of acting like a weird stalker at first, showing up at her house. And then there's a guy that comes out and he's like, did you guys just do it?
Yeah.
And then she doesn't flip out at him. Wow.
That was awkward and very creepy. But, she has this big money situation that she really wants to go to school. Again, not super developed idea. We aren't really super like crazy invested in it. She has a cute little place and, she seems like, but she does seem she's wandering aimlessly through life.
Yeah.
And they're in such different places in their lives. And I felt like that was an interesting, juxtaposition. And I enjoyed the conversation about the older, May, December romance, so to speak. My brother he's a 47, and he's got a 22-year-old girlfriend he's been with for a couple of years. And I'm very judgmental about it and I don't love it.
Okay.
At all. And I really enjoyed the way that she made him understand about it.
Sure.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That idea. I don't know. What do you guys into that May, December thing?
Well, now I want to know more about your brother and his girlfriend, but I'm not like, I want to know how that all happened. Like, but you want
to develop that backstory for a second. Well, let's do the quick aside. I mean, he and my sister-in-law were married for 13 years, got divorced. They have 3 kids. Mm-hmm. He was out for about a year and met this girl on Tinder, and they're living together, and they've actually been together for almost 3 years now, which is shocking. I should probably drop it there in case this comes up.
That's fine.
I
was trying not to do the math on the ages there. So she was 19 when they first met, and he was like 40.
Correct.
Okay.
Some younger women like older men, and I said, well, you do know her brain doesn't stop developing till she's 24. So she's still a child and unable to really make a good decision. She's only 5 years older than your oldest son.
Wow.
Which is a great segue into that scene where they're talking about Woody Allen films. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank
totally.
That was great.
It was, very meta, very, he was like, are you sure about this? She was like, it's like a Woody Allen film. And then he tries to, what did you guys think of his response to how he defends their situation, how it's not a Woody Allen film?
Yeah, I was nodding along in agreement actually as she was talking about that, because I was like, yeah, no, she's absolutely right. Also, why are all of Woody Allen's films all like that? I mean, we know why, but yeah, but also I think from Ed Helms' character's point of view, he just seems so weirdly innocent about the whole thing. I think he honestly didn't understand why there couldn't be anything between them. And at a certain point, I mean, she said she was 26. I actually thought she seemed a little older. Would I be totally grossed out if I heard about a 26 and a 45-year-old? No, it just depends on the couple, I think.
Right.
And I guess that's not really even what you asked. I don't know. You could tell they were very different. They were just very different people who had very different thoughts on pretty much everything in life, and they were like oil and water, which is why they probably never would have worked as a couple.
Yeah, the breakdown of the Woody Allen stuff was only important as, well, first of all, it's important to what's happening and what we know now and what we've known for quite some time.
Right.
And it was nice to see a Hollywood movie actually look you in the face and say, this, we know this, and this is really, this is a serious thing. Serious problem. But I think the ending was, he got it. That was him getting it. So I guess that was a useful tool, not only for the writing, but also for everybody maybe out there that maybe sees this film. You can tell this film, they wanted the most broad spectrum of people to enjoy this movie, and that's a little bit why I wasn't won over by it. It didn't seem like, well, let's really go for it in a way that some people are going to be really pissed off about this and not agree. And maybe we're going to get some backlash. It was more like, let's make sure everyone's,
they played it very safe.
For that reason, when you say that, it's reminding me in a tangential way of the movie Dan in Real Life, starring another character from The Office, Steve Carell, in a serious film that had tried to introduce some comedy elements into it, but ended up being a little too melodramatic and not settled in from one good point of view, like you were saying.
I saw that film in the theater when it came out when I was in college. I think I couldn't even tell you what happened during it.
I remember either.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It wasn't in my homework, Josh.
I know. Do you guys like it when a character sort of reveals all his character's motivations? Do you guys like when movies do that, or you felt this one needed it? He said, when I hang out with settled friends, I feel sad for what I want. And when I hang out with single friends, I feel sad for what I have and I don't want.
I thought that was an okay response, and I liked it because I kind of wanted to know too, I guess. I also kind of hate that question though of like, why are you single? I think it's like rude and annoying as someone who's always single. But if I were in that situation where I was carrying someone's child because they wanted a child, even though I was alone, like I might be like, hey, like, why are you doing this alone? Like, I might be more apt to just be curious about that, especially if I was the one carrying the baby. But I did want to know.
Answer a lot of probably messed up questions.
Right.
If you're in either of their positions, you have to really get to know somebody that you might not ever I have friends that they're a gay couple of men, and they had a friend, a woman, and she agreed to have a baby for them. They both donated sperm. They just mixed it all up, and so they don't really know. And they had one, and then she said, "I'll do it again." Mm-hmm. And she had another. So they have two, a girl and a non-binary child. And, it's a really interesting journey that I kind of lived just vicariously through them. And honestly, and there was a documentary made about them, but I would really love to kind of see that movie more. I think there's a little more, I don't know. I did enjoy the single male heterosexual man who wants to have a baby, by himself.
There was a film a few years back with, I can't remember his name, the guy from Parks and Rec, where he has a baby with his best friend. I think it's called Friends with Kids. Does that sound familiar? Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, but it's
I'll have to look.
But it takes the typical
the guy
romantic
with the big beard, Aziz
comedy.
Ansari.
No. The white, Leslie Knope's husband. They get married.
The guy from Party Down, right?
Adam Scott. They're like best friends, BFFs for years and years, and they both want a baby. So then they have a baby, but then of course they wind up together in the end, even though they think they like don't love each other. So that goes the way you expect it to go. But yeah, like I feel like there's lots of different variations of this story that could be done, and some of them have been done, but there's more that have yet to be done.
And maybe this is a nice foray into that. Yeah. Even more so. I mean, we just keep circling back to that idea, but this is a more committed perspective, I guess, is maybe. But, then again, a wide audience changes often is a mind changer for people who, just wouldn't normally be accepting of this sort of, this doesn't sound like something, we believe in, and you can kind of, it's one of those things, one of those kinds of films that it can change minds, I think. So that's a helpful thing. That's a good thing. We like that art that, creates change.
Sure. Starts a conversation at least,
Yeah, it's started this one.
Yeah, exactly.
and since you brought up your friends, I thought I would ask you about that in relation to the movie. What did you think about the power dynamic where he kept asking her how much she was eating and having sex and basically being real intrusive with her personal life, just based on the fact that he paid her $15,000 to have a baby?
But now can we address the $15,000 first? There's no way I would have a baby for someone for $15,000.
I think they usually pay more than that.
That was an initial payment.
Was that what it was?
I think it was per trimester, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I wish they made that more clear. But.
Yeah, because I think surrogates make like a good amount. Which, I mean, they're working, right? They're pregnant, and then they have to recover, and that takes like a year total at least of the commitment. So
yeah, I'm talking that's $100,000 job to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
like your body, your body's never the same. Obviously she had a child, but that was when she was very young, not that 26 is old, but still it just devastates the entire body. And then just mentally recovering, I think too. We did see a lot of therapy, a lot of group therapy, a lot of checking in and taking care of. It was very rich white people stuff happening.
Yes.
Other than the tech, I don't remember now.
The app was called Loner. He invented it, and that's what the guy at the coffee shop was looking at, and then he made this weird face at him like this. He's like, and he was trying to say something to him that I guessed was from the app that he would know, that he knew that he uses the app, I think, and there was like a weird little exchange they had there, but they never followed up on that.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either. I'd be down for an app called Loner, though. Like I was
thinking
that. I was
the app called Loner, where you just look at other people who are alone, but you don't match with them, but they're out there wanting someone to connect with, and you just look at their photos. Anyway,
if it were free, if it were a free app, I'd download it. Sounds good to me.
I'm literally wanting to look in my app store right now just to see if someone already was like,
if there's anything like it.
Let's do it. There are a couple here, but I don't know if they're the same thing. Yeah. So, but I'm married, but I almost non-pressure of interacting or pursuing something it was very intriguing there with Loner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's lonely. Like, that was another thing. It kept coming back around, loneliness and people's interpretation of what they believe is lonely or pathetic or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was some defensiveness and some embracing of that kind of stuff. And why do you automatically assume this single guy? He's like, I'm this is the happiest I've ever been. I'm going to have the baby. And
that
my
was,
life
I liked that line when he said it's so weird. Everyone saying that they feel like I've given up when I've never had more hope than I have now. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, there's some little surprising insights that were very inviting.
Yeah.
And, I felt like I had an invitation, and then I felt like, I only clicked interested and not going,
Totally. No, it's that they didn't go all in, and I wish they had.
That's what I liked about the end. It was the development during the movie that threw me off, but the very abrupt ending, I think it was a really not unique, but it just left a lot to the imagination.
It was unique. Yeah. I mean, it made the story about her, about Anna, right? It was, because then you're thinking, okay, what's next for her? Where Ed Helms' story, I'm calling him Ed Helms because I can't remember his name right now.
Matt, I had to write that down.
Where his story is going. He has his baby and he's going to be a dad. Like, we know where that's going. And
he has baby Lamp.
And he has Lamp.
Yeah, we never talked about Lamp's little name.
So now, the rest of the story is Anna's. This is over with. You can see she's, she says, "I'm so happy for you" to Matt. And you can tell she really means it. And what's next? She's going to college. She's doing, whatever she wants to do. And now it's like, it's her story and it ends on her face. Cause it's like, this is Anna's story now. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It ends on her face, but it's beautiful to hear his elation.
Yeah.
And I see him obviously because I don't think that's something we could have had a proper camera angle for.
Yeah. Yeah, we hear him. We hear the baby, but like we don't need to see it. We know what's happening. So we know how happy he is. What we would want to know is what her face would look like at that moment.
Also, a bit of. Yeah, I think there was elation. I think it was a very complex emotion. Obviously, that she was more complex than I could ever even imagine. Everyone was taken care of very well through all the stages with the mental health. And I think when you do go through something so huge and profound like that on either side, that's the only way you could possibly do it is to have that kind of, first of all, a ton of money and a lot of assistance, mentally and spiritually. The Lamaze situation when she does bring up, well, how is he gonna be between my legs for 4 to 7 minutes? That was hysterical. Like, I did laugh out loud.
Everybody turns to look at them and they're like, and the teacher, who at one point was sitting on top of a table in a very, very yoga-like pose, said, "Are you going to be okay with that?" And they all look at her, just silently judging her.
Yeah, no, she's like, "Is that a problem?" or something like that, and everyone just slowly turns and looks at her like, "Well."
And I did like the yoga teacher; she was perfect, and or the Lama, whatever she was, and she said, "Is there a third partner?"
Yes, I love that.
I'm gonna have to take a moment to let go.
Getting the idea of the third partner out of my mind.
Yeah, she got that as soon as she found out they weren't together romantically. She was like, "Oh, there must be a third part."
Yeah, that was funny.
Right.
That was. I think I laughed out loud at that part. Just letting that go. I need a moment.
It was always the third party, the third partners, again, that brought the real laughs.
Yeah,
right? Like the real laugh out loud moments where always somebody else was always there.
That's true. Like the technician. Like the technician with my favorite line. I'll ask you guys yours, but for me, it was when, oh man, I can't remember the exact line, but basically they were asking her, "Do you really know everything?" And she was like, "Yeah, I do, but I just can't say."
Can't legally say.
Yeah, can't legally say.
Yeah. I know everything. I just can't tell you. Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to the end, and I have thought about, it's like I kind of have thought about them, after the movie. If did they do they stay really good friends? Are they talking? Or do they call each other? Does she see the baby? Is she involved? Like that kind of stuff was very interesting too. She wasn't involved with her other child, really, even though she said it was a close adoption, which usually means she's
no, she
able
said
to
it was a closed adoption.
Closed.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I was like, closed adoption. Does that mean they live close by?
No, closed adoption. So like she has no idea. Yeah.
That definitely makes
sense.
Okay. Yeah, because she's like, he's 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Or they're 8. I think she was pretty careful about saying
they're
8 or 9 or whatever.
At the very end, Ed Helms has the last line, and he says, "Welcome to the world. You're amazing." But he still doesn't give the gender of the baby away. So
I think he said he.
I heard him say he. He's
guys,
so beautiful.
I thought Ed Helms also said that, but I put it on pause, put the subtitles on Amazon. It says you're. Okay. So that would imply he still isn't telling her what gender lamp is because she didn't want to know. So she was still maintaining a boundary, which was one of the themes of the film was boundaries, Like when she went to the bathroom alone to cry by herself whenever at the baby shower when all of his friends were congratulating him. She kind of felt like a third wheel, didn't really want to be there. And then she was like, boundaries, I'm going to go home, And
that really, that's where we changed, like, I guess that's where the whole plot, like,
there's a tonal shift.
We need to separate. Yeah. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl. Yeah. I mean, it still had the standard, kind of through line, even though it was a new take or a different take on it, we did that. I was glad there wasn't too much of that though, because it just seemed cruel and uneven and a little, I didn't know how that was going to go. And she kept sitting on the floor. And I would just like to say, I've never met a pregnant woman who would sit on the floor because you can't get up. And that bothered me. I was like, where was the pregnant woman? They were like, just like, that was just like weird to me.
The fact checker who was like, nope, this definitely would not be happening in real life.
Not going to be sitting on the floor without somebody there in her apartment when they're having their little separate time. Their boundary, whatever. She's on the floor in front of her couch. I was like, how is she going to? I guess she's going to really have to struggle to get up. Now that could have been a funny moment, but they again didn't really. Been like her, like rolling over and trying to grab onto the couch. Like
I would have liked to see some more. You're right. I would have liked to see some more Liz Lemon, lonely white woman trying to make her way in an apartment by herself kind of humor. You know what I mean?
It was a very peer into the real world, real life kind of situation, and not a lot of physical comedy.
They could have. Yeah, they didn't do much.
But I do think, as let's say, the first big movie she's made in Hollywood, I could see that she could be doing great things.
Her name is Nikole Beckwith, by the way.
Right. And if someone said, based on this, would you see another movie? And I would say, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, maybe she'll, how it is with Hollywood. A lot of the time it's like, well, prove it again. And then, especially with women, they're like, we're not giving you too much money in only 17 days. And, these very limited things that you can have because we just don't know if it's proof of concept kind of thing. But for me, I guess the proof of concept was definitely there, even though it sometimes fell a little short, but it was sentimental. It was thought provoking. It was conversation starter. It had it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. It had it, and an extremely awkward scene where she tries to show Ed Helms how to
use a tampon.
The most embarrassing moment of his whole life, remember?
And I appreciated that she did that, A, and that B, like she said that thing that I've never put my finger on, but is a very true thing. If you are incredibly embarrassed about something, you never forget it.
Yeah, that was good.
At times she seemed older than her years, like wisdom-wise, for a 26-year-old, who was a loner in a coffee shop. But hey, maybe that's just the director's words coming out of her.
Yeah, but I think like having her past that we do know about, like it's pretty dark, and she was probably quite on her own and had to, hustle for her self and her family didn't quite seem to obviously be there for her. So she probably had to grow up sort of fast after her first pregnancy there. And that would make her a little wise beyond her years. It's a very specific type of person that could be give birth for another person, you know?
Yeah.
Is something so
I couldn't do it.
A person with the uterus. Yeah, that helps.
That's the person with the uterus. She's a unique person that had this experience in the past, so she knows that she can do it. She even says, I've done it with mine, one that was mine. I know I can do it with one that's not mine.
Yeah.
You know, so it seems very much like a very specific job, something you have to be very qualified for.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure, God, how many of those situations go terribly, probably awry? I mean, what would you estimate as like a percentage on like when it just the surrogate wants to keep? Or
well,
just,
I mean,
you know,
I think it used to a lot. So now there are laws preventing that. They basically have to like sign everything away when they do. Same with adoption as well. So not as much as it used to, because it's illegal at this point. But I'm sure, you know, when it first right, exactly. I'm sure when it first started, it probably was an issue. Yeah, because, you know, emotions.
Of course. And especially, I mean, and on top of all the normal emotions that might be arising, then you have hormones.
Right.
Then you have complicated relationships with other humans in your life, judgmental people you don't want to tell. Like, it was really interesting that she didn't want to tell anyone very specifically. And of course, people were going to know because it's not something you can hide.
Yeah.
But, you know, they were opposite ends of the spectrum. You know, he was a very proud mommy, you know, in a way. You know, he was like, I can't wait to tell everybody, you know. But it's finding their way to common ground and to a shared idea of not parenthood, but of this experience. I thought they did that quite well, that part.
I thought so too. And now I think it's time for final thoughts.
Cool. Wait, who's going first? Who's going?
Not it.
I can go first.
Or we could have a word from our sponsor.
Wait, no. Oh, Kelly's show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do.
Okay, yeah. Do sponsor your show and I'll gather my thoughts, Kelly.
Oh, great. Well, thanks so much for joining us for this amazing talk. I want to invite you cordially to a show that you can attend with your dog online. That's right. You can actually watch and interact with this live online show that I'm doing. It's called Obtainment. It's got music, it's got tricks, treats, it's got a best in show contest where your dog can actually win prizes. It's being done on Zoom, and it's being done in a very, very new sort of way that I think is going to really make people enjoy. Come back to the Zoom room, babes. Seriously, I think it's going to be a really, really fun way to interact with the canine community and have a blast with each other.
Well, I wish I had
a dog. www.dogotainment.com. It is enjoyable for anyone, whether you have a dog or not. It's sort of like I do, you know, obviously invite everyone. We are a very inclusive show.
Okay, good.
Wonderful. Did you say when it is and how much is it?
It's $15, but if you direct message me or Josh or Cassie, I can give you a discount for your tickets, for $10 tickets. And that's a household ticket, so everyone in the house can attend together on one ticket.
Nice. Cool.
And now back to Josh and Cassie, already in progress.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts. Like I said at the beginning, overall my thoughts were positive. I told Josh I cry at like every movie I watch, so I guess that's not saying a lot, but I did cry a little bit when she had the baby because, you know, I did think that the way their relationship progressed was sweet and unique and kind of special, and it did make me think about, like, you know, relationships with guy friends that I've had in the past and stuff like that. It's not like anything I've ever watched before, and so I appreciate that. At least I do wish they had, like you were saying, Kelly, like just push some boundaries a little more. Maybe it would have made it a lot more memorable, because I feel like to a lot of people this might be kind of forgettable. You know, they could have done more with it. Also, the awkward conversations were kind of a lot at first. Like too awkward. Like it felt like it was trying too hard to be uncomfortable, and you could feel that. But overall, it was moving, and I enjoyed it, and I would probably recommend it. So I would give it, let's see, 8 of those big pregnancy bouncy balls out of 10. I don't know what they're called.
I think that's the technical term for that.
I mean, I've seen them used for so many things. They're like, I've seen them in yoga classes. I've seen them like
desk chair. They use them as desk chairs now.
Yeah, 8 giant inflatable bouncy balls out of 10.
Great. I'll give it 7.5 1960s circus style teddy bears out of 10.
Is that my cue?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
just to wrap up quickly, I'm looking forward to seeing more by Nikole Beckwith. I hope this is just the beginning of kind of her foray into telling stories in Hollywood, which I think obviously we need more women's voices. And I hope she pushes boundaries. Cassie said pushes more boundaries, but this did win me over. I enjoyed the process of being won over. I was really kind of annoyed at first, and it was a very thought-provoking ending, and I just really did make me walk away thinking things I think are important to think about. Think. I know words. I am going to give it a 6.5 silly Ed Helms annoying creepiness vibes out of 10.
No one's ever rated in vibes before.
Wow.
That's a first.
She's an original, you guys. I liked it, and we never mentioned the name of the actress that played Anna. Her name was Patti Harrison, and her face and emotions at the end, where she was like, you could tell she was like, have a baby, or she was like, but I'm giving it to him, and it's over, and I have money, and I'm going to college. She was very confused, but glad that it was over. And maybe that was kind of all of us at the end. We were confused, happy, glad that it's over.
I rate her hair a 10 out of 10. Her bangs the entire time I was watching. I was like, oh my God, her bangs are like goals. Yeah.
My hair do that. Like, my bangs would, I don't have thick hair like that. So it'd just be like me.
Yeah. So
he was one to watch, I think.
Bangs 10 out of 10. Yeah, for sure.
Hey everybody, this is Joshua, and normally this would be the end of the show and where we play the credits from Kelly Dwyer, the guest you just heard. However, she forgot to give the dates for Obtainment. The dates are Saturday, May 29th at 5 p.m. Eastern, and June 2nd at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. For more info, contact Kelly Dwyer, Facebook, Joshua Dudley, or Cassandra Hager on Facebook. For tickets, or go to Obtainment and just purchase them. And now we're going to be playing what should be Kelly's hit song. You're all going to love it. Guys, put your hands together for Dog in a Basket.
When I was a kid, I used to cry to get what I want. In my 20s, I used my sexuality. In my 30s, I used my smarts and my experience, because I finally came to love and respect me. But my 40s has been different. I'm middle-aged and confused. I can't seem to get what I want and not also feel used. So I got a dog in a basket. I got a dog in my bike basket. I don't need to do any other thing to get what I want and want what I get, because I finally got my dog in a basket. It doesn't sound feminist, and I'm a bit embarrassed. My confidence is shook and it's time to reinvest my youth and looks this one endearing thing. To get what I want and want what I get. 'Cause I finally got my dog in a basket. It really doesn't matter that I don't have the right of way. I got a dog on board. I'll do what I want. I'll go where I may. She is the ticket right on into your heart. To get out of a traffic ticket when I'm out in my car. All dogs are service dogs when I roll up to your bar on my bike with a dog in a basket. That's right. I got a dog in a basket. A doggy, doggy, doggy in the basket. I can rest upon this one indeed.